Good morning, Philippines! Hey, there was a viewer when I did the intro that time. I hope
You a
weren't.
bot?
I hope we weren't scared
Oh, you
away.
left.
Well, welcome back to Prodigy, Season 1, Episode 12, Let Sleeping Borg Lie. As you can clearly see, I'm standing in front of the title a bit today. Where today? I think I've done the intro wrong. I got confused. Wait, hang on. Live, not recording. Live, end stream. Okay, yes, no, we are live. We're definitely live this time. I got confused. I saw OBS wasn't recording, which is true. OBS is not recording. OBS is live streaming. I should probably record these. But anyway, today we're going to talk about Let Sleeping Borg Lie. I think I'm actually going to go straight into the scene by scene for this one, because with Prodigy, there's not a whole lot, I think, of this high-level stuff to talk about. And honestly, when I was writing the notes down after watching the episode like half an hour ago, I realized that the best way to order them was actually chronologically. So, there's something I've said, saying that looking at my notes going, dang it, that's not how I was supposed to start the stream. I've said this a lot, and I can't remember if it's made it into a video. Probably some Picard videos. There's been a question ever since 2001. Alex, close your ears. I said, Alex, close your ears. There's been a question since... Yeah, there's ice cream in the fridge. Since 2001, did the events of Endgame destroy the Borg or cripple the Borg?
Endgame?
I told you. Told you to close your ears. And the answer is that yes, absolutely, 100%.
Except when it doesn't.
Yes, Endgame was the end of the Borg. Until such a point that any future writer wants to do a Borg story, in which case it didn't. It was not the end of the Borg. Today, I think we've proven that true. Interestingly, in Prodigy, a show that takes place before Picard, which is a show who has many premises, including, like, the entire setup of the world and the characters, under the assumption that Starfleet believes the Borg are no more, which does raise questions if the Protostar ever makes its way back to Starfleet before 2399. Or actually, I guess before Icheb? I don't know. Point is, it's complicated. Yeah. I guess the Borg are back, because this cube was, like, it was in hibernation, but it wasn't, like, in hibernation. There was no thing, like, it must have been in hibernation when I destroyed the Borg. Or, you know, because, like, you think holographic Janeway, of all people, would remember that, or be like, I thought the Borg were extinct, or whatever. No, but that's a little minor thing. You could easily sweep it under the rug a bit if it ever really became an issue. And also, Picard never explicitly said, hey, we think there are no Borg, but the motivations of, like, central characters and the world were built around the belief by Starfleet that the Borg were no more. So it is a bit of a problem if Starfleet knows that the Borg are more, I guess you'd say. But anyway, yeah, we get the little recap, the previously on, there you go, that I wanted last time. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. I've got, yeah, this is probably gonna be a shorter stream for a lot of reasons. I burnt my hand before this, because I, wanted to get quick something to eat. And I also have Assembly Square, the Lego set, behind me on the coffee table. That's, like, a third built, if that. And I want to make sure my dog doesn't try and eat it. And that's what I'm gonna do after this. Yeah. We just got the recap of what's going on. Why they can't do the weapon, yada yada. I like that they found it right away, and, like, yeah, it is really a physical thing that's there. A bit weird that, like, this underbridge section no one's ever noticed before. I get that Janeway is a hologram, would be like programmed not to think about it or something. That's fine. But like, surely it's on an L card or something, and none of the kids noticed, like, hey, there's this whole section under the bridge you can only access from the bridge. Maybe you take it off the L card, but then there's a hole in the ship under the bridge with nothing, which I guess is, you wouldn't really question that, actually. No, fair enough. I take it back. I'm on board with this now. Yeah, I like that they found the weapon. They tried way more than Discovery did to get rid of Control. I'll give them that. I was actually satisfied enough with the we can't take it off the ship because then someone else will use it argument. That's actually a lot better than the argument they give later. Because, like, yeah, you know, it's hard to come up with a situation where that's a choice. That's not a reason you, like a physical limitation or something. That's not a roadblock. That's an active choice. We're not going to remove it because someone could use it. Even if they bury it or, like, leave it somewhere temporarily, there's the risk that it will get used or stolen, and they're choosing not to take that. I like that, actually. That worked for me. And I'm fine that they can't deactivate it or whatever. Like, yeah, it's weird future tech. We don't know how much future tech. Maybe I'm misremembering things about the Civil War that was like hundreds of years of Civil War. But in my head, it was only like a few years, maybe. So I don't get Gwen's like, this is future technology. You can't just disable it, deactivate it, whatever. But yeah. I know I'm actually going to skip back. Like, so this part of this episode, the purpose is to establish why this is a problem, right? Why they can't just deactivate or get rid of it.
Hi.
What, you have ice cream downstairs?
I took it upstairs because the scoop was upstairs.
I thought
And
it was
Red Bull's
in there.
upstairs.
All right, well.
Yeah, it was in the freezer down here.
Anyway, Alex is just going to eat ice cream after I told him how starving I was.
It's not vegan ice cream, so...
I know, that makes it worse.
Well, you chose this lifestyle.
Yeah, the part of this episode justification is to say why they can't just deactivate or remove this. And they kind of did, like, the laziest possible way of giving that explanation while still providing the explanation and, like, removing plot holes. Because the explanation is, the Borg said it can't be deactivated or removed. That's the explanation. Deactivate, fine. You know, I think you'd be hard-pressed probably to find someone who wasn't okay with that. But removed is like, well, why can't it be removed? The Borg say so. Okay, why can't it be? Why do they think that? Can you elaborate? Like, no, because there's no reason it can't be removed. Like, there's definitely, if you put your mind to it, I'm sure you can take this thing out of the ship. But the Borg say you can't. That's the explanation. And, like, it's not a plot hole. We don't know it. Like, I suppose in theory that there could be some law of the universe that prevents you from moving this thing off the ship. I don't know if contrived is the right word, but is that, like, because the Borg say so? Well, then it must be true because they're the Borg. That's the reason. Which the early explanation was much better of, like, we don't want to, rather than, like, oh, it's actually impossible. You can't do it. But, yeah, I mean, at least they did way, way, way better than Discovery Season 2, that had 2 whole starships to, like, work on this problem. And I still don't understand why anything. I mean, Discovery Season 2 doesn't work, is an anything. I don't... They did better than that. Let's give them that. Like, they did their job. They did it in kind of the laziest, bare minimum way possible, but they did do it. So I'm kind of satisfied with why this is a problem now. If you really put your mind to it, maybe you could think of something, but, you know, unless it flashes to, like, 70 years later and they haven't solved the problem, like, yeah, they just haven't thought of it, you know. When someone in 30 years posts on the Star Trek Reddit, like, hey, they could have easily solved their problem in Prodigy by doing this, it's gonna be like, well, yeah, and it took you 30 years to realize it. Like, Prodigy's probably not going to span 30 years. But anyway, let's move on a little bit. I did find this a bit weird, where the ship was like, proximity alert, the Borg cube's here, but the Borg cube was dormant. So, like, did they show up to the Borg cube, or did the dormant Borg cube show up to them? Because, like, proximity alert implies that, it went off before they were this close. That's a minor thing, but it was a bit like, oh, that's a bit weird. We did get, again, I'll talk about how this episode handled the Borg later, but we got, which did bother me, God, I'm sounding negative, but I promise this isn't a criticism. We got probably the most horrifically inaccurate and also the most totally in-character description of the Borg in the entire franchise.
Why does she look like a sim?
She does kind of look like a sim, actually. But
like a sim.
She is a hologram. Everyone looks like a sim. You want to see the real her? She's also going to look like a sim, just older. But technically, she is a hologram. Just wait, there's a plum blob in this episode. I've been waiting to make the joke. The thing above the Sims' heads?
Oh, okay.
Isn't that a plum bob?
I don't know the official name of it. I call it the diamond doohickey.
But anyway, that's what we're going to call it now. Yeah, Janeway describes the Borg in here as like a hive, like augmented humans whose sole purpose is to like end threats to their existence, which is like, no, like, just no. And Janeway, of all people, should know that more than anybody else, thanks to the amount of time Seven had to sit her down and talk about it. Oh, hello, Carlos. I am now fine. The show's return become very tedious. A good ending. Nice to see you surface. Thank you, Carlos. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by the first comment. I think I can kind of get it, though, because I'm actually going to brush up on some of the way the show's handling. But, yeah, what I was saying before. Janeway. The Borg aren't that. The Borg seek perfection. That's all the Borg do. They just the purpose of the Borg is to reach perfection. Like, it's such a simple purpose, but also no Starfleet officer in history has ever given anything close to the actual like explanation, unless you count Seven, which is kind of an outlier. Yeah, like that's always been the Federation's description of the Borg, is like conquerors, whatever, which they're not. I mean, they do conquer, but that's not the purpose. Like, yeah, so, and I totally 100% agree that if Starfleet were to program an AI and give it, like, beliefs and values, that is what the AI would describe the Borg as. But it grates my ears. It's just one of those little misunderstandings that absolutely gets me. And it's not, it's like a misunderstanding of the character, not the writers, because the writers do the Borg really well in this episode. They're not here a lot, but the little things we get from like the hive mind, I guess the Borg, talking to Zero, I thought that was really well done. And they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to take this weapon. I don't think it has a name. It's just the weapon. And, use it to assimilate the Federation, whatever, assimilate our enemies, yada. I just think the Borg were handled really well here. They even had the thing where, like, they won't attack you if you're not a threat. I think the Borg were really well done. Carlos again. In other words, the thrill of watching it is flat. Yeah, I get that. I think it depends what... I don't know if you're talking about Prodigy specifically or Star Trek. I think it does depend in part what show is on. But, this literally, like, is a job for me. But sometimes it can feel like a little bit of the job with, like, the weekly thing, jumping between the shows, juggling so many. I don't believe in franchise fatigue in the sense that most people say it. I don't believe if you air Star Trek as much as they did, the first time, the TNG Deep Space Nine Voyager, that people are going to get burnt out and that will ruin it. I think Kurtzman's strategy of let's make all the shows different would keep it going. But this is also the first time I'm doing it like once a week, because Star Trek existed for me. It was a binge. It always existed, and I was basically done when Discovery came out. I actually was. I was on my rewatch when Discovery was announced. So, yeah, maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe franchise fatigue is a thing, but I think later, if I were to watch all of these shows when they're concluded, is like a binge as I did with originally, I don't think it'd be a problem at all. It was called The Living Construct, and it is about Prodigy. All right, with Prodigy specifically. Yeah, I'm not finding Prodigy specifically a chore, but there's sometimes like, I want to build my modular building right now. Kind of thing. Like, it's scheduled. It is scheduled for me. Like, I have to watch the episodes at this time for my live stream at this time. That's probably the biggest thing. But at 2 episodes, Prodigy isn't a chore yet, at least. But I am going to get into how I think Prodigy's handling being a show in a bit. Because there's a place I'm waiting for to get into that. And I think I think I agree with a lot of the reasons why, or at least we're going to agree on that. Fast forwarding a bit. Oh, here we go, Alex. Here's the real one. Also a sim?
Yeah, why do they look like generic Sims?
They don't look generic because to me this looks like Captain Janeway, but it's just the art style, I guess. The main cast is mostly aliens, so I guess I've never really noticed it before. But it is kind of sim.
Yeah, it looks like the most generic Sims in Sim 4.
It's not generic because we know the main human characters, so it looks like a sim of Janeway, is what it looks like. Yeah. Interesting observation, though. I want to address this point. I think this is the best Tellarite we've ever seen in Star Trek. And the Tellarites, that's not saying too much.
I have another comment.
Yes.
This looks like, you know how when the Sims are like
This,
in their Sim,
yes.
you know how they have like Sim shows on their TV? This looks like what
This,
the Sim
oh my
show
god,
on the TV is.
I would get that DLC. And hi to your great speaker. I think that's you, Alex, unless they're saying hi to me through me.
Hi to your guest speaker.
Oh, guest speaker. Yes, you're not a great speaker. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I guess technically I'm a forever guest
Yeah,
speaker.
you're not...
Because ever so often I chime in like...
Until we get our own room. My own studio room. This is the bedroom and living room and everything.
Sorry if you
now.
hear any like sniffles. I have a cold.
You're too far away for that. But no, this is the best Tellarite I think we've ever seen in Star Trek. Not saying much because through all the classics, the Tellarites were reserved to, gotta love them Tellarite, they literally never show up kind of memes. And then in modern Star Trek, they're kind of filling the role of, well, because they never showed up before, we're going to show the Tellarites because people want them, and it helps, like, root this in the universe without actually committing to the universe in every way. Which is not a criticism. I'd like to point that out. Is a pattern. It does become a bit of a criticism, but they have become the... Well, everyone complained that Star Trek never used the Tellarites, so we're going to use them for, like, every random side character kind of thing. Jankum being the exception, of course. But this guy was rude as compliments to the point where it was so natural I didn't even realize it. First time you've heard the second voice. Alex has been around for, I think, all the live streams. Which is like Lower Decks. I haven't seen you around for a while, but it's like the end of the last season of Lower Decks. They've been around. I hope you can hear them every time they talk, because I think I've checked the audio levels and you should be able to. But yeah. This guy, though, was so rude as compliment, like Tellarite, to the point it was so natural I didn't even notice, and we told her, like, man, wish I could be as much of, like, a kiss-up as you are, whatever he said. Like, sooner or later we'll be taking orders from you. I went, like, there's a moment where I'm like, oh, that was a bit, like, uncalled for, kind of rude. Oh, he's a Tellarite. But he also even complimented her a bit at the end. Like, it's a Tellarite who's like embracing their culture, but also kind of assimilating into the other. He did a backhanded compliment, is what he gave, which is so like, I'm a Tellarite who understands humans, and like I'm around humans who understand me and my culture as a Tellarite. Like, this is the best written Tellarite. I'm not gonna say he's the only good one, because I'm not gonna remember all of them, and I'm not gonna like poo on Jenkum. But actually, Jenkum didn't grow up in the Federation, so this is the best Federation this is the only good Federation Tellarite in the entire show, in the entire franchise, because Jenkum didn't grow up in the Federation. Carlos again, and oh, I definitely dislike the EV suits. Who puts controls right above the front pelvis level? I've never paid too much attention to the EV suits. Hang on. Are they in this episode? I don't think they're in this episode. I'll pay attention if they come up again, but I'll take a look at them again in a future episode. Yeah, not much really happened with the Janeway stuff this episode. I guess at the end, exactly what I said.
Especially with the lighting, it just looks like a Sims TV show.
It does. I mean, Alex is right here. It really, it does look like a Sims TV show. But yeah, that's fine. I mean, this wasn't the focus of the episode. It kept the story going. Like Deep Space Nine, when it does the stuff about Dukat, at the very end, like when he's on Beidro or whatever, Alex is gone, so I can talk about Deep Space Nine all I want. The writers made the mistake of like getting Dukat with the Kai too early, and so he just kind of disappears for like most of the arc, because it happens really, really fast, and then they have to like kick him out on the streets for a few episodes because they're not ready for him yet. This is and it feels weird. This is avoiding that problem. It's like keeping it going, but it's not the focus. We don't really care. We're not here to see that diviner stuff. We're here for the Borg. You put Borg in the title, everyone is here for the Borg. Like, yeah, it's a really nice Borg cube. I'll say that. I've just realized they have, it's a beautiful blend of that Borg green, like classic Borg cube, and Picard, where it has all these white lights, which maybe I misremembering, or like the coloring was bad on TNG, like old cameras or whatever, that those were never white lights in my head. That's a Picard thing, that white blue. I don't like it, but I respect the merging of like Voyager, which is the last time we saw the Borg, and the Artifact, which is the next time we have it. I respect that merging, and I mean, I didn't notice it until going through again now. So yeah, very well done. More cavernous than we're used to seeing, but honestly, I think that's just because it was too hard to do the big caverns. In a lot of depictions of the Borg, we do see those huge caverns. You got the dim job, whatever, the Jim job. Wait, did I read that one? No, I didn't. Carlos again. Yes, they are in this one. When they find the master slaver floating in the air, Janeway's crew found him. Oh, hang on, my dog's eating cardboard. Comment. Don't eat cardboard. When they found the master slaver floating in the air. Oh, Janeway's crew. Was that was the end of last episode, wasn't it? That's not the start. Yeah, that I'm pretty sure that's how last episode ended. If you can tell me whereabouts in the episode you think they are, I can look for them. But that's definitely how, when they found the diviner, I assume you mean, that was the end of last episode. At the end of this, I'll go back to last episode that I know has them, and we'll look at the suits. That's what we'll do. Yeah, I mean, this is very Voyager, or at least it's close enough to having not seen Voyager in a while. I'm like, yeah, that's a Borg, Plimblob, whatever. Alex isn't here to make fun of it. Zero, I forgot, like, I'm not sure if Zero's experience with a hive mind is when he was with the diviner on the planet whose name I can never remember, or if Medusans are a hive mind, because I don't remember that. Like, I remember him kind of getting in everyone's minds. I think that's what they're referencing when he was with the diviner, like a prisoner. Or maybe there's something about Medusas I'm forgetting. But that was a moment where I'm like, oh, hang on. I need to... God, what I want to do is another chronological watch-through of Star Trek. But, especially with Strange New Worlds, they're still making it. And so any watch-through I start now is going to get, like, outdated. So I kind of want Star Trek to end so I can do another chronological watch-through. But I don't want Star Trek to end because I think the majority of what it puts out now is good. Like, it's definitely not worth axing. That's for sure. But anyway, going. Oh wait, Alex is back. Alex, look, it's the Pimblob, whatever.
The plumb bob?
Yeah, the plumb bob. Thank you.
Are you referring to this thing or this thing down here?
Well, same thing.
That looks better.
It's multiplayer.
It's multiplayer.
Yeah. But yeah, I get Borg ship. It looked really well this episode. This is your first introduction to the Borg, technically, Alex. You're not at the Borg yet.
It's the Borg pillars.
Yeah, Carlos, the suits were in the previous one. I'll go and take a look once we're done here. At the last episode, we'll take a look at the suits. Because it's actually a bit of a faff to switch episodes. Moving forward, again, more beautiful Borg cube. I'm going to get into why I'm kind of skimming through this. I think the fight scenes were pretty good, like how they adapted. You might say it's weird for a Federation phaser to do anything, like, to these guys, but they did adapt after, like, one shot, and it's like a newer phaser, a new model. That's always been my excuse, like, it's a new, I don't know, frequency or whatever. But they really did adapt quickly. Physical weapons don't really do anything. They can't adapt to that, which is both makes sense and is weird to me. Like, I've never kind of got that. I think they did great.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you
Is
eating?
he eating cardboard? They did great with the costumes and alien assimilations. Oh, there we go. Alien assimilations. I know why we haven't done that in the past. Just real life, it's harder. But I'm glad with animated they did have some, like, proper aliens who had been assimilated. It wasn't just the normal Alpha Beta Quadrant species. Going forward a bit more. Yeah, not much, just nice looking sets. Nice of them to assimilate everybody in the same room. I guess you do it. It's more efficient. Here we go, look. Little alien who's been assimilated. Well, little. But, sorry, I just saw how disproportionately big this table is because you have to assimilate people like Rock Talk. Like, I bet they had to stretch Dal's arms to make that one work. The little, like, model of Dal didn't have long enough arms. Yeah, we'll get to the main thing. Assimilated Zero. How'd they assimilate him without bringing him to this chamber? That's a question. But, this episode, you know, the biggest thing is it's the episode about Zero's character development. It's the episode where Zero deals with, he addresses the, like, guilt he's faced over the mid-season finale, the fact that his true appearance would literally drive people insane, is, you know, that would probably get to you. And it is, I didn't expect it to kind of be so soon, just kind of like now this episode sorted. I think it worked. I think it definitely does its job. It does it well. You know, it's going to be good for the kids. It's a definitely watchable, enjoyable, serviceable TV. But, I'm realizing, unfortunately, I think I referenced this a lot when Prodigy was coming out, that, it had like the highest potential of any show I've ever seen. Carlos again, more correction, they put forward lights between the waist and pelvis. They are not controls. All right, we'll take a look at them later. But, yeah, it had the highest potential because it was Star Trek, which, is one of the only two shows I would consider perfect, is a Star Trek. and it was a kid show not talking down to its audience, and because in its nature of a Star Trek, it had the potential to be like Steven Universe level quality, which is the other show I would consider to be perfect and even above perfection. And it's a mushing of those two. It had a potential to be Steven Universe, but Star Trek, and talking a lot about addressing a lot of things Star Trek never did, almost never, well, not never could, in the classic kind of style, never did. And it was kind of ramping up its first season. So did Steven Universe. I'm like, you don't really go out of the gate with that sort of stuff usually. If you're not familiar, Steven Universe spends like 50 episodes being a fairly standard kids TV show with great music. And then at the end, it still has like moral messaging and stuff. And at the end, it snaps its fingers and goes, actually, look at how amazing we were this whole time. It takes 50 episodes to kick it into gear. But when there's the episode that I hated and everyone else loves, the time travel one, whose name I can't remember. It was some spin on Time Amok. Amok Time Amok, because there's the Spock one. It's too many versions of that title. With Rock Talk, where I can't remember exactly what the situation was. I mean, you could watch my review again if you really want to, but I loved what they did. I felt they could have pushed it a little further. Like, they were so close to the line. I wish they would have gone a little further in certain ways. But this one kind of made me realize if this is what they're doing with the Zero, I mean, kind of the big series character thing, and like one of the major, I guess, lessons from the show, you kind of have the whole point of having the Medusan is an accepting who you are story. Like the Medusan in the kid show, someone who, if anyone sees their true selves, they will literally go insane. You're gonna teach that lesson of accepting yourself and who you are. Exactly what Gwen says, letting others in. Like, this was the lesson. Which, I mean, I think it was good, but I think I'm accepting that it's never gonna go above that limit. It's never gonna become a Steven Universe, which honestly is a franchise above perfection. I was never expecting it to be. So it's a little disappointing that they're not talking down to the kids, but they're also not talking up to the kids, I think is the way you might put it. I don't know if you've seen Steven Universe, Carlos. I recommend it to everybody ever because I constantly talk about it, especially in Prodigy. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's just an incredibly tightly written show that doesn't care at all that it's written for kids. It's not, I mean, it's probably written differently, but the lessons, the topics it covers, what's the non-spoiler description of Steven Universe? Because like even the plot summary is incredibly dark. It's a show about war crimes. Basically, is the TLDR. It's a show about war crimes that talks about the war crimes, and it's a kid show. It's wonderful, but Prodigy is not gonna. It's gonna sit very high on like that top of the standard kids show. Like it's probably the best standard kids show that I've seen, but it's still the top of the standard kids show. I don't think it's gonna make that leap into incredible. Didn't watch but have heard.
Why
it is
is
well done.
GLaDOS using the power of the plumb bob?
Oh my god, that's not GLaDOS. That's the little blue, like when you play the multiplayer.
Why is
It is
GLaDOS
Atlas.
using the power of the plumb bob?
GLaDOS got assimilated briefly.
She's the one that does the assimilating.
You think so? You meet the Borg. Well, never mind. I won't spoil Borg things for you. But spoilers,
Go
GLaDOS
Borg
is
yourself.
not actually in charge of the collective. Yeah, but it's like, as an adult, you're not gonna walk away from Prodigy and feel you've learned something or grown. I don't think. As an adult, you'll be like, oh yeah, that was a pretty well done lesson.
Baby.
And I think that's the difference with something like Steven Universe or like the really good kid shows. Might walk away and having learned something or been like, wow, that's an interesting perspective. I've never thought this combination of things. With Prodigy, you're going to be like, yeah, I knew where you were going to go with that. As an adult, you're like, I knew where I was going to go with that. And I think it was really well done. You know, the kids would definitely learn it. Good lesson, well told. But that's what you're going to get as an adult. I've also just remembered I used to do content warnings for this, didn't I? I had like, this video is not made for kids. FAA scares me. And I was like, I really have to do that because live streaming, I can't edit out like if Alex swears or something. But maybe the FAA doesn't scare me so much anymore now that I actually make money. But yeah, it's still, you know, I enjoy it. Prodigy's good, but I think I've learned where it lies in that kind of quality level. I also don't have problems with how easily, like, Zero unassimilated themselves, because it's Zero. Like, first off, I mean, really, the core of the argument, we've never seen a Medusan assimilated before. It's species 8 something something something. Wait, species...
Did GLaDOS go into dentistry?
Wait, 8572? 8572. 88. Yeah, so they've discovered them really new. Yeah, this is GLaDOS into dentistry. This is a really newly discovered species, like a bit before 8472, if I remember the number correctly. So, like, you know, sure, maybe they can't be assimilated as much. I've got a ship of 8472. No, it'd be a nerd if I actually knew their real name, which is the Undine. I do know it. But when I played Star Trek Online that has the Undine, which the main show never calls them the Undine, I never knew who the Undine was until, like, way through the game when you see one. I'm like, oh, 8472. I know who they are. But anyway... Yeah, I mean, it's a Medusan. He kind of has mind experience. Like, yeah, no problem with that. He'd been newly assimilated. He doesn't have a corporeal... Well, he has a corporeal body. He doesn't have a solid one, so his assimilation kind of looks like it's a purely mental thing. I mean, he kind of wanted to be there, it sounded like, just with this little conversation they had. It's not being a nerd, it's actually really racist, 8472. You know. It's gonna make a historical comparison that, as I said it in my mind, I'm like, no, that crosses a line. but that's how bad it is. See, I know there's a line. I know lines, especially live. Spacesuits? Oh no, it's just weirdly well lit. It is a bit weird that Zero could put them in a deactivated state. Dormant state briefly, but I'll allow it. I guess he was hooked up to the... I keep wanting to say verniculum. Is that a thing? Is that like some Harry Potter thing, or verniculum? Vernacular is a word. I don't know. Verniculum. I think I'm trying to say the thing that, like, you put your memories in Harry Potter. That's the pensieve. Now, don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, here we are, I guess, what the series is going to be moving forward, which is more like story of the week, episodic. The kids are going to help people find themselves stories with still some sort of overarching Janeway plot. Maybe it's going to be more central than I think it is. Oh, hang on. I think I missed the Diviner. Did he wake up? Oh, I missed that frame. The end of the episode somehow. But yeah. Oh, hello, Logan. Borg vincula. That's the one I'm thinking of. The actual word for the pim. I knew this word until I sat down to stream, I swear. The little sim thing. It's the vinculum. That's what I'm thinking of. Zeri's species designation was 802. Oh, I thought it was in the thousands. Well, anyway, the Medusans, there we go. They were like super advanced master navigators. The Borg didn't make their way to the Alpha Quadrant, which I guess we don't know where the Medusans are from, ? For ages. Like, I'm still fine with it. Maybe Medusans just can't be assimilated. Or at least easily. Logan, you're here early for Lower Decks. You are here very early for Lower Decks, I'm afraid. I do have to change my logo, actually. I gotta swap that out after this. But yeah, you're about a year early for Lower Decks. This station... yeah, I can't remember. I think I was... When the scene first... No, I don't remember. I think I was gonna say something here. I don't remember what it was. This is a fantastic view screen. I will say that. This is an amazing view screen. It's high definition. But yeah. I think that's... Here he is. This guy a sim?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a vampiric sim.
I hope both Lower Decks and Prodigy you're still gonna watch, though, and
Hey, you have
enjoy
two
despite...
viewers.
I do! It's the first time we've got 2 people. You can entertain yourselves now. I'm useless. Superfluous, that's the word. Let me glance at my notes, make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Yeah, Logan, I hope you've been here a while, because unfortunately I think the stream's just about over. But, I've said to Carlos, we are gonna go back to episode 11, and... Hang on, I gotta actually go there, Paramount. Check out the spacesuits. And I'm pretty sure this is gonna work.
I'm here early for Lower Decks. Are you doing Lower Decks today, too?
No, there won't be another episode for like a year.
Then why does Logan say he's here early for Lower Decks?
He's very early. Here we go.
Look, more Sims.
Now, hopefully, when I take this away, there we go. I forgot to...
Are we sure they didn't just take Sims from The Sims and use them in their cartoon?
It's like a paint... I wish I remember the right type of paint, but it's like a paint style, very painted. And I think it's... The Sims does a different, but pretty similar style, especially when you get, like, white skin, where it's kind of single tones, but only a few. I think that's what it really is. If you remove the characters, it's not like The Sims.
If you remove the humans, it doesn't look like The Sims.
Yes.
But the humans look like The
It
Sims.
just... The combination. Actually, they're late. No, Carlos, they were here for all the Lower Deck streams. I don't think they're late. But yeah, the spacesuits, it does look kind of silly, actually. Now that it's been pointed out, the like belly lights, it's almost like the 2 eyes, nose, and a mouth, like some sort of simplistic, cute, maybe like Japanese style clean robot, whatever. And then they got the weird like breastplate metal thing. They are kind of silly. Now that you've pointed it out, I will say the belly button lights are kind of silly. Functional, I'm sure.
Those are the battery packs. How lit up it is tells you how much battery they have left.
Does one light go out? And like, if this went out, it'd be 75%. Do they kind of all drain down? How does this work?
So...
Yeah.
When it's 75%, the bottom one goes out.
Okay.
When it's 50%, this one goes out. 25, this one. When it's 0, this one.
It's also like it's like Lara Croft, PS1 Lara Croft boob armor. It's like metal armor to
Titanium
protect your
titties.
square boobs. It's kind of silly. At the top works. I think the bottom works. It does look kind of silly, Carlos, now that you've pointed it out. I like what they do with the body proportions. I've said before, just with the characters in general, but the uniforms, spacesuits, I like how it's kind of they have one for every body type to like alien extremes. Don't explain it, hurts the head. Yeah, it's just it's like what it is it's a talking like little companion person. It's like the future version of like I can't say their names because that'll activate them, but the smart home assistants, where you'll be like, Mr.
Alex
Tum,
Hayes.
Mr. Tum, tell me a story, or like, Mr. Tum, I want to play 20 questions. That's their name, Mr. Tum. This one, Mr. Tum.
Hey, Alexa, tell me a story.
No, you've activated all their... You can't say it. But when they're hanging in the, like, room, the storage place, they all like talk to each other. They'll make a show of like a short trek. They'll make a short trek about it one day. I like the helmets. I'll say that. I think the helmets work really well. But they are a bit silly in the belly area. But yeah, I think I'm full of everything I have to say, so I'm gonna do a drawn out intro. I'm actually gonna see how long the delay is on the stream between me and the stream, just for anyone to get their last questions, comments in. Pretty good.
Questions, comments, concerns.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, any concerns you might have. I enjoyed it. I've talked about before. I think it was pretty good. I think it was good. I think I'd called it the best of the standard kids shows. Definitely not talking down. I like that. I like it's not talking down, but it's also not talking up. I like that description.
They're just talking like normal humans.
Would you describe Steven, because you know how kid shows often talk down to their audience. Would you say Steven Universe talks up to its audience? As kind of like a
I
counter.
think like at the beginning, as like it didn't talk down, but it talked at a younger level, and then the show grew with its audience
because it had to get cemented in the first 50 episodes before it could do what it really wanted.
No, but I don't think it ever talked down or
definitely.
Up. I don't think it ever talked up. I think it just was like, hey, we know kids have the capacity to learn about human compassion.
It's something more though. Well, because, like, Prodigy, this episode, was very much talking at the level of the kid, but there's not much more depth than kind of there has to be. I described it as, like, as an adult, you're gonna walk away from, like, this Prodigy episode thinking that was a well-done kind of explanation and lesson for the kids. But Steven Universe, you might walk away going, like, I have learned something about myself. Like I've had like some revelation about myself. I've learning like personal actual things as an adult. And that was kind of like the talking up kind of thing to me. All right. I think Alex is overwhelmed. Yep. They're starting to sing. Alex is overwhelmed by that. Carlos, nice to hear you again. No, I didn't. Nice to read you. I guess I did see you. Nice to see you again. I did see you. That is the right sense. Nice to taste you as well.
Like watching stuff at midnight.
Oh, Logan. Glad to see Kate Mulgrew a couple of weeks ago in Bloomington. Oh, cool. Only live a couple hours away, so it was cool to see her Janeway statue. Anyway, have a good one. Thank you. Last year they started, I think, what's the Star Trek convention? I don't remember what it is.
TrekCon.
It might be. I think they call it something, but there's one of those in Seattle.
Oh, wouldn't it be called, when the Vulcans met the humans?
First Contact?
Yeah, is it First Con?
Well, the first one might have been.
Well, they should just call it First Contact.
First Contact.
But it's...
yeah, we should go to the Star Trek one in Seattle sometime, or at least maybe I should. Like, once you're caught up enough to care about something.
When we're 60?
Yeah, well, then we'll go to Bozeman, because that's where they make First Contact. The Collective. Is that what it's called? Oh, well. But yeah, they've got one of those in Seattle, which is like, it's a ways. I can't drive my electric car there, but like I can get to Seattle like pretty easy. Heck, I got the money if I wanted to. I could be in Seattle in like 3 hours if I wanted to. Like, it's not hard. So maybe I'll go to one of those. I've never actually met a Trek person. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I have to think about this. I've met the Enterprise. Does that count? In the Smithsonian. I've seen the TOS Enterprise. It was in the gift shop, like the actual one, before they refurbished it, hanging up on the ceiling. And I wanted to ask how much it was. Huh.
What Pokemon would Kirk have?
I know what I want to say. I'm trying to think of the best Pokemon, because I don't think I don't think Jinx is like a sexy lady. So,
Okay, so
but
you
I don't
think
think any of the
Borg.
old Pokemon were sexy ladies. It'd be a new one that, like, something that Markiplier said he would smash is what it would be. Yeah, it'd be that one.
Gardevoir.
Yeah, it'd be. Alex has got a. Well, it's one of those. It's like the first pretty lady. No, not the bunny. I don't. Something about Kirk and. No, that doesn't feel right to me. Carlos, here's a deep question. I'm sorry it's not. Does the show provoke more thinking than Steven's Universe? No.
Steven.
It's also
Universe.
Steven Universe, singular. It's the guy's name.
Steven and the Stevens.
But no.
We're gonna make you smile. Me and myself and I am him.
Oh, okay.
Are all the same.
The
guy.
time travel episode. The amount of time I spent trying to wrap my head around the nonsensical time travel in the not time travel episode, that provoked a lot of thinking in the wrong ways. But no, Steven Universe, way more thinking. Logan, I don't think these chats get archived, which is why I'm reading them out. I have to figure out how to save them. Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to go see it at Smithsonian. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Enterprise. I did get to see the Star Trek Museum in Las Vegas 20 years ago. There's a Star Trek Las Vegas. They had a Quark's bar. Sister and I split a warp core breach. Are you talking about Star Trek The Experience? Because I've heard of Star Trek The Experience. That's it's an amazing... I've told you about it. It was like it's like the Star Wars thing that Disney has now. Or like Harry Potter Land, but for Star Trek.
Who owns Star Trek?
Paramount.
Would they
And
be...
CBS, but same company.
Do they have like a theme park akin to Universal Studios or Disney?
No. Chat? Can you help me? Does like a parent company? My brain wants to say Universal, but I'm pretty sure it's not Universal.
If it was Universal, it would have a land by now.
Here's a plan. Oh God, I've been showing the thumbnail this whole time. I'm actually gonna get something up for you, Alex. Yes, The Experience. Oh my God, I'm so jealous. The Experience was amazing. It was an
I don't even like alcohol, and I'd buy something.
The plot of The Experience was that
Tribble.
Federation officers from after all the shows happened went back in time to the 20th century to investigate Gene Roddenberry and how he was able to create such an accurate version of the future in his show. That was the in-universe... So, like...
Did they sell plushy tribbles?
Probably. Logan, did they sell... did they sell plushy tribbles?
They should have.
Star Trek... size... So,
our dog melted.
This is something they were going to build, Alex... was a life-size version of the TMP Enterprise in Las Vegas. They didn't because the head of Paramount at the time was afraid that they might make a bad movie and it would ruin it. Which he did end up then make Star Trek V, which did not ruin the Enterprise. But it literally, like the hotels of Las Vegas...
wall art?
Yes. Well, like, the hotels of Las Vegas downtown were going to pay for it. Paramount didn't have to pay a dime. Like, the hotels were never going to get their money back. It was entirely an attract people to downtown to compete with the Strip. And the head, like, they were ready. They were sat down to, like, sign the contract. And the head of Paramount was like, no, we might make a bad movie and it would be embarrassing. You already made a bad movie, and it wasn't embarrassing. God. Well, you know they did. Logan says they did sell plushy tribbles, which of course they do.
Was it the good kind of fluffy and soft or the bad kind of fluffy and soft?
I don't know. Ask Logan. Was it the good or bad kind? But God, I would love some sort of Star Trek experience thing to come back. I'd love it in classic as well. I don't think you'd get it.
That's what they should do for First Contact Day and the year it's supposed to happen.
Bozeman.
They should have
yeah.
Star Trek experience.
I would be amazed if there wasn't some major event, even if it's like locally organized or like geriatric Trekkies. Like, I know from my demographics, like, I think the average Trekkie, at least that watches my videos, is in their like 30s to 60s. So I don't know how big the Star Trek fandom's gonna be in the 2060s, but like, there's gonna be something. If it's still going, like, there's definitely gonna be something organized by CBS. If it's dead, there's gonna be something. But like, we're definitely going to Bozeman.
I realized a missed opportunity in Star Trek.
Oh,
None of the time travel episodes took place on Halloween.
there's the Halloween episode, the Cat's Paw, that's got like witches.
No, but like none of the time travels. Could you imagine just like them being down in like 1950 Halloween, and just like, those are good costumes. What are you supposed to be, Captain? It looks like we are in some sort of ye old Earth tradition called trick and or treat.
That would be an easy. But like, what's the episode about? Is the thing then?
It could be about
like,
anything and nothing.
It just
all
happens
at
to.
once.
I think one of the. Well, I was gonna say that might be expensive, but like, if you're CBS, you could probably throw together a bunch of random costumes really easily. Cause like, just get them from your other shows, you know. Your sister and I will definitely be in Bozeman 2063.
That could be the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover episode.
It's gonna be at least you, me, Logan, and Logan's sister is gonna be in Bozeman. Nice. And of course the Vulcans and Zephram Cochrane. And we gotta make it through World War III, of course.
I'm sorry, but if the Vulcans offer me to make the next Spock and I need to be the female human, we are having Spock as our child.
Yeah, Spock is half human. I was gonna make a comment, but I'm like, no, actually, that's actually how it happened. I think Sarek was around for First Contact, wasn't he?
It will be technical, and I will raise it to be show accurate because they said...
Show accurate? You're gonna raise our Spock.
Shut up. Because they stated, and you pointed out that I'm the first person to point this out, they stated in the first episode of Spock's mom that she said he was a emotional child, and then the animated series, which is what everybody bases it off of, is just like,
So...
he was not emotional. No! Everybody's wrong.
You're gonna make a historic, a show-accurate Spock.
Yes.
Born 2230.
Yes.
Alright, just checking.
Well, by that time,
also,
yes, covered How to Live Forever.
I am proud how much... Well, then it's not show-accurate. I am proud how much... we should go full mirror universe. Oh my god. No, we don't. Alex has not seen... I'm not gonna spoil that glorious moment for them, but we're not gonna go... It's an Enterprise episode. We are not going full mirror universe on the Vulcans. Sarek came later after First Contact. Oh, I thought you meant after the movie. I'm like, no, he didn't. But yeah, after the First Contact. I can't remember. I think he was before the Federation was founded. He might have been just after.
Is our dog broken?
Yeah, he just looks like that.
Have to put that
I had a point. I don't remember.
There's a point to this?
I think I was going to lead into something. This is why I take notes after the after I watch the episodes now. But yeah, it's nice. We chatted some afterwards. It's been about an hour. I'm starving. I think I'll probably wrap up. Nice to have not just one, but two people here today. First time. Woo.
I'm always here. You never thank me for being here.
Yeah, I tell you to leave, because, like, I gotta talk about Borg stuff and, like, Endgame, and I talked a lot about the end of Deep Space Nine when you were gone. It was, like, Pixar Season 3, I have no idea how that's gonna work. Like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. But yeah. Thanks for watching. I forgot to I remember why I put the thumbnail on earlier. I was gonna look when it came on the stream. Forgot to do that. But yeah, from me, Janeway, Trills, who are the best. That's the Doctor, isn't it? And this Andorian, hey look, you've... Vulcan. I was gonna say you have the founding members, but I'm like, who's missing? Yeah, from these people, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Also, I learned how to do this in one button.